beautiful people. Oh, I'm sure it kind of. All right. Tap of the day, beautiful people. That's wobble. That's wobble. We are live and ready to go. All right. I know I said 7:25. I can't get an update to YouTube, y'all. I can't make the chat work over here. So, but we are here. And then Brown, shalom, shalom. Trina, hey girl, hey. All right, y'all. Oh, all right, y'all. Happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday. It is February the 10th, 2021, day 74 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 743. Guys, today we are reading numbers 25, 26, and 27. We almost done with the book, but let's go ahead and start with the Shema today. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the God of our fathers, has promised us, in a land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our God, He is one God. And you shall love Yahuwah your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah our God for our good always, that He might preserve us alive as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do these commandments before Yahuwah our God, as He has commanded us. Betwabble, TT. Greetings, Uncle Nathaniel. All right, beautiful people. So let's hop on to it. Shalom, shalom, Belinda Brown, Mom, Talane, hey girl, hey. All right, beautiful people. Numbers 27. One day, a petition was presented by the daughters of Zelophehad, Mala, Noah, Hagla, Milcah, and Tirzah. Their father, Zelophehad, was a descendant of Hefer, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, son of Joseph. These women stood before Moses, Eleazar the priest, the tribal leaders, and the entire community at the entrance of the tabernacle. Our father died in the wilderness, they said. He was not among Korah's followers who rebelled against Yahuwah. He died because of his own sin. But he had no sons. Why should the name of our father disappear from his clan just because he had no sons? Give us property along with the rest of our relatives. So Moses brought their case before Yahuwah, and Yahuwah replied to Moses, the claim of the daughters of Zelophehad is legitimate. You must give them a grant of land along with their father's relatives. Assign them the property that would have been given to their father. So women are not left out in Yahuwah's plan at all, anywhere. Contrary to the popular belief of some places that treat women like they are nothing. And I can guarantee you, all them places that treat women that like they are not a part of the bigger plan, or husbands who actually lord over their wives and treat them like you need to be serving me. Like, I can almost guarantee you that the presence of Yahuwah is not there. I'm almost guaranteed of that. When women are oppressed, Yahuwah's spirit is not there. And give the following instructions to the people of Israel. If a man dies and has no son, then give his inheritance to his daughters. And if he has no daughter either, transfer his inheritance to his brothers. If he has no brothers, give his inheritance to his father's brothers. But if his father has no brothers, give his inheritance to the nearest relative in his clan. This is a legal requirement for the people of Israel, just as Yahuwah commanded Moses. One day Yahuwah said to Moses, climb one of the mountains east of the river and look out over the land I have given to the people of Israel. After you have seen it, you will die like your brother Aaron, for you both rebelled against my instructions in the wilderness of Zin. When the people of Israel rebelled, you failed to demonstrate my holiness to them at the waters. These are the waters of Meribah at Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. Then Moses said to Yahuwah, O Lord, you are the God who gives breath to all creatures. Please appoint a new man as a leader for the community. Give them someone who will guide them wherever they go and will lead them into battle. So the community of Yahuwah will not be like sheep without a shepherd. Yahuwah replied, take Joshua, the son of Nun, who has the Spirit in him, and lay your hands on him. Present him to Eleazar the priest before the whole community and publicly commission him to lead the people. Transfer some of your authority to him so the whole community of Israel will obey him. When direction from Yahuwah is needed, Joshua will stand before Eleazar the priest, who will use the Urim, one of the sacred lots cast before Yahuwah, to determine his will. This is how Joshua and the rest of the community of Israel will determine everything they should do. So Moses did as Yahuwah commanded. He presented Joshua to Eleazar the priest and the whole community. Moses laid his hands on him and commissioned him to lead the people, just as Yahuwah had commanded through Moses. Now let me say something here. The Legends of the Jews gives a lot more detail about this right here when Moses was actually about to pass, and how he really didn't want to go, right? He was going back and forth with the Most Holy. He said, okay, well, let Joshua be the leader. That way, at least I could, like, he really wanted to see the promised land more than from that that mountain that he saw it from, right? And there was this conversation that was going back and forth, and Yahuwah kept reminding him, Moses, no, listen, you got about 3 days before I go ahead and take you. Go ahead, go talk to Joshua. Go ahead, go talk to them all. Let them know everything, everything gonna be all right. And but he kept on pleading, and we're gonna get to it shortly. But he was saying, he said, listen, I cannot. He said, I cannot leave you here. He said, because if I leave you here, they will not listen to Joshua. Like, he had to break it down to him like that. You know how sometimes you just tell your kids, no, that's it. We're done. You got to go. Nope, you cannot. I cannot allow this, right? He kept on pressuring him until he made Yahuwah lay out detail for detail why he could no longer live at this point, right? He said, the people, you thought they run amok then, they really gonna run amok if Joshua trying to lead them and they can still see you, right? I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. But listen, Yahuwah being a loving father and so gracious and wanting to give his children what they want, he extended grace to Moses for just a little bit, right? But he didn't tell him. He said, look, just like with Balaam yesterday, he first told him, he said, no, you can't go. He said, well, I'm gonna go back check. Yeah, you know what? Go ahead and go. He almost died, right? Listen, Yahuwah is going to allow him to live a little bit longer after he commissions Joshua, right? And so while they were sitting down, we're going to get to it, but I just want to say how much is missing just between these two verses right here, between verse 8 and verse, what is it? No, I'm sorry. The last chapter and this chapter right here. That the people, they literally like, wait a minute. Why we gotta listen to you, Joshua? Like, it was a mess down there. And it got to the point where, I mean, Yahuwah didn't say anything. It got to the point where Moses went to Yahuwah and he said, Father, you know what? I said, you was right. I said, because living now, he said, it's better for me that I die right now. He said, because this is horrible. I can't live like this. The people won't listen to Joshua. And Yahuwah like, really? Didn't I tell you that? Right? So now Yahuwah had to clean up this little mess right here. It was funny, but it wasn't funny. I'm like, man, it teaches so much that you need to listen the first time. If he say do it this way, do it this way. Because if he tell you to do it this way, this is probably the best way to head down this road. Like, sometimes people say, oh, Yahuwah has a perfect will and permissible will. I can see that. I really can see that, because if you supposed to go this way, he said, look, take this route right here. But you decide, oh, my friends is going this way. Let me look, we all going to the same place, but we just need to stop past mama house first. No, go this way. You don't need to stop past mama house. not today. Go this way. But you know what? He allows it, and y'all go ahead and go to mama's house, and all y'all almost die in a horrible car accident or something like that. That would be like the permissible will. Permissible to the fact that I kept you alive because you didn't listen when you were supposed to take this route, right? Learn to listen the first time with the first instruction without trying to get him to let you do something else that seems to you to be the better course. Don't do that, people. I'm telling you, don't do that. Numbers chapter 28. Yahuwah said to Moses, give these instructions to the people of Israel. The offerings you present as special gifts are a pleasing aroma to me. They are my food. See to it that they are bought at the appointed times and offered according to my instructions. Say to the people, this is a special gift you must present to Yahuwah as your daily burnt offering. You must offer 2 one-year-old male lambs with no defects. Sacrifice 1 lamb in the morning and the other in the evening. With each lamb, you must offer a grain offering of 2 quarts of choice flour mixed 1 quart of pure oil of pressed olives. This is the regular burnt offering instituted at Mount Sinai as a special gift, a pleasing aroma to Yahuwah. Along with it, you must present the proper liquid offerings of 1 quart of alcoholic drink with each lamb. Pour out into the holy place as an offering to Yahuwah. Offer the second lamb in the evening with the same grain offering and liquid offering. It too is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to Yahuwah. Betwabu, great rising, Shayla. The Sabbath offerings. On the Sabbath day, sacrifice 2 one-year-old male lambs with no defects. They must be accompanied by a grain offering of 4 quarts of choice flour, moistened with olive oil, and a liquid offering. This is the burnt offering to be presented each Sabbath day in addition to the regular burnt offering and its accompanying liquid offering. On the first day of each month, present an extra burnt offering to Yahuwah of 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 one-year-old male lambs, all with no defects. These must be accompanied by grain offerings of choice flour, moistened with olive oil, 6 quarts with each bull, 4 quarts with the ram, and 2 quarts with each lamb. This burnt offering will be a special gift, a pleasing aroma to Yahuwah. You must also present a liquid offering with each sacrifice, 2 quarts of wine for each bull, 1/3 of a gallon for the ram, and 1 quart for each lamb. Present this monthly burnt offering on the first day of each month throughout the year. On the first day of each month, you must also offer 1 male goat for a sin offering to Yahuwah. This is in addition to the regular burnt offering and its accompanying liquid offering. On the 14th day of the first month, you must celebrate Yahuwah's Passover. On the following day, the 15th day of the month, a joyous 7-day festival will begin, but no bread made with yeast may be eaten. The first day of the festival will be an official day for Holy Assembly, and no ordinary work may be done that day. As a special gift, you must present a burnt offering to Yahuwah, 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 one-year-old male lambs, all with no defects. These will be accompanied by grain offerings of choice flour, moistened with olive oil, 6 quarts with each bull, 4 quarts with the ram, and 2 quarts with each of the 7 lambs. You must also offer a male goat as a sin offering to purify yourselves and make yourselves right with Yahuwah. Present these offerings in addition to your regular morning burnt offerings on each of these 7 days of the festival. This is how you must prepare the food offering that is presented as a special gift, a pleasing aroma to Yahuwah. These will be offered in addition to the regular burnt offerings and liquid offerings. The 7th day of the festival will be another official day for Holy Assembly, and no ordinary work may be done on that day. So remember, the first and the last day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread it's a Sabbath day. It's a work day, right? The only thing you can do is cook your food on these 2 days right here on the Passover. It says no ordinary work may be done with the priests were cooking the food, right? So remember, I know I always say this, but just in case you forgot you weren't out here, when they are offering sacrifices, unless it was a burnt offering, meaning it was completely burnt up, nothing left, but the ashes until it's done. Everything else, they were cleaning, they were preparing appropriately, and they were cooking. After they cooked it, they thanked the Most Holy. Well, the priests were the officiating ones. They were the ones that thanked the Most Holy for this. They repented for their sins, and what did they do? They ate. Sacrifices are always food. We're coming together. It's family time. Let's have a family gathering, a reunion. Well, actually, the feast days are more like family reunions because we all should be together, right? Okay, so remember, sacrifices are food. Yahuwah even said up at the beginning, he said, this is food for me, right? But what did he do, right? Unless it was a burnt offering where he allowed it to be all burnt up, the food that was brought to him, Yahuwah in turn gave it to the priests for their portion, right? And everything else, the people ate. So remember, sacrifices is always food, right? Which is why Yahuwah said, you better bring me the best. We eat good here in my house, right? Don't bring me nothing broken, defected. I don't accept humans as sacrifice because we're not cannibals. Think about it. I need y'all to think about the small details of these things, right? Humans are not acceptable in any given fashion, on any given day, in any year. Why? Because sacrifices are food. They consume and eat sacrifices. It says it all the way from the beginning. Like there is never a time where they didn't eat a sacrifice unless it was a burnt offering, right? And I'm gonna keep reiterating that because if you understand this, you won't be taken by leaven that has been added and teachings that are crazy, right? 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 I need y'all to pay attention. A lot of y'all done caught it already that's been here for a while, and y'all going back looking at things with side eyes, looking at the Bible, and y'all are able now to see the leaven that has been added because it doesn't line up with what Yahuwah said, right? Humans are never to be sacrificed. First of all, sacrifices are food unless they're completely burnt up. Third of all, you don't kill people to atone for your sins, right? He said the righteous can never die for the wicked. He said the wicked will die for their own sins unless they repent and get it right to Yahuwah. Get it right with Yahuwah, right? Okay, I want to keep reiterating that just because sometimes we just kind of read and we don't pay attention, right? Things don't jump out at us unless we read it a lot, okay? At the festival of the harvest, when you present the first of your new grain to Yahuwah, you must call an official day for holy assembly, and you may do no ordinary work on that day. Present a special burnt offering on that day as a pleasing aroma to Yahuwah. It will consist of 2 young bulls, 1 ram, seven 1-year-old male lambs. These will be accompanied by grain offerings of choice flour, moistened with olive oil, 6 quarts with each bull, 4 quarts with the ram, and 2 quarts with each of the 7 lambs. Also, offer 1 male goat to purify yourselves and to make yourselves right with Yahuwah. Prepare these special burnt offerings along with their liquid offerings, in addition to the regular burnt offering that and its accompanying grain offering. Be sure all the animals you sacrifice have no defects. You know what? Even although I don't eat meat anymore, my husband still eat meat, even though he's transitioning to more of a plant-based. So and I've always done this, like you go grocery shopping, I think about this, he said, don't bring any animals. We come to eat. We need the best cuts and portions of meat, right? So here's something if you didn't know, right? When you go to the store or like Food Line or whatever, at least I noticed that about Food Line over here. When you go to the meat department, some meat is marked manager special, right? I don't really know if y'all know what manager special really mean in regards to going to the grocery store and getting meat. It's marked down. The price is marked down and it's manager's special, right? Now, what I've come to find out is that meat marked down that says manager special. Now, this is only from our personal Our personal experience in the past years with the managers. Thank you, Tylane. It means they're trying to get rid of it, right? They're trying to get rid of it, not necessarily because they have too much of it. Maybe they've had it in stock for too long and we need to push this out first before it expires so we can make some money off of this, because you can't put rotten meat out there and sell it. You're gonna lose those profits, right? So they market manager special. And I realized that one time when I had purchased some meat and I brought it home, and I didn't even put it in the refrigerator. I left it out, right? I left it out because I was going to cook it that day. But when I opened up the plastic, you know what? There was a stench that came from it. I was like, oh, what? I'm like, I literally just got this from the grocery store today, right? And you know what I did? I got one of them grocery bags that I take and ball up and throw under my kitchen sink. I grabbed one of them bags out of there. I put it right back in there. I found my receipt and went right back to Food Line. I said, we need to handle this. I said, this meat is spoiled. And I literally just bought it today. Here's my receipt to prove it. Listen. Here's my receipt. I learned that day not to do manager special. And I had noticed before, and here's what's crazy. It happened a couple times before, but it didn't necessarily have a stench to it. But it was like, should I not cook this meat? I smelled it, but I can clearly tell. I could tell by the date that was on it, and it didn't click those couple times before, but the meat wasn't spoiled, and I put it in the freezer. So, if you freeze something, it'll last a little bit long. But this particular time, when I got this one, when I didn't freeze or anything, I cooked it the same. Well, I didn't cook it. I was going to cook it that same day. Open it up. It stunk. And I started thinking about the previous times where I got the manager special meat because it was cheaper. Not necessarily cheaper. It was marked down because they were trying to get rid of it, right? Yeah, and the color I know that's something I was going to say. I noticed on those, the color started, it looked different it looked a little more pale. It looked a little more pale than the other chicken and stuff. And I was like, yeah. I told my husband, babe, when you go to the grocery store, don't get anything that says manager special. I said, because I'm going to throw it away. We're going to have to take it back. I said, because that's the meat they're trying to get rid of, right? I said, yeah, don't do that. So it's like the same thing. You was like, don't bring any manager special meat to this family gathering. You better be, what you bring. It needs to be slaughtered this day. That's how fresh if we're going to eat the meat, this is how fresh it needs to be. We need to see y'all do this right here. Don't break, like you will say, inspect this. People need to be watching, because think about what Esau did. Esau did with Jacob when he was about to bless him, right? Jacob was already blind. He was already blind by the time he was about to get a blessing. But Esau's venture to go out there to get his father some venison he didn't have a good time. He found a couple things, but Satan, he was messing with him, and he whatever he caught, he let it loose. So by the time he was ready to come home to cook for his dad so he could get the blessing, everything that he had caught had gotten away. And you know what he did? He cut up a dog and fed it. Come on now. You will say, bring it alive. It need to be inspected. And this is how you properly slaughter it so it can be cooked appropriately, right? He said, I'm a king. I eat the best, although he didn't eat it. What was given to him, he burnt it up. Okay, that's he's celebrating with us here. He's celebrating with us here when we come. Okay, my portion, we're going to completely burn it up. I'm going to smell the sweet fragrance that comes from it. That's a pleasing aroma to me. Y'all go ahead and eat. We got the best cuts and choice of meat right here. It was done. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? So y'all got to think about this. When we read the sacrifice portion has been done. It's been taught in a way where people don't really understand what's happening here, what's going on, right? Because y'all used to hear me talk about it a lot the first couple of times. Like, y'all, something about these sacrifices. The first thing you revealed to me, he said, well, these were food, right? Anytime you see sacrifice substituted with food, they about to eat. It's about to be a cookout, right? I'm like, oh, shoot. It is. He said, unless it's burnt up, that's my portion. He said, but everybody else eating good. I'm like, right? Okay. Come together, family meeting. Daddy need to talk to you. Hold on. Y'all been doing this and you get the stern talking to and stuff. All right, y'all. So that's it for today. Did I skip a chapter? How does hop right to 29? I know we just read 28. Or did we? All right, y'all. But anyway, that's numbers for today, 25, 26, and 27. So let's hop right over here to Legends of the Jews, and we're going to pick it up where we left off yesterday. Page 297, the consecration of the priest. And if you have the smaller book, it's volume 3, chapter 3. And the section is the consecration of the priest. All right, beautiful people. All right, the consecration of the priest, page 297. Before the sanctuary and its vessels were dedicated for service, they were anointed with holy oil. On this occasion, the miracle came to pass that the 12 lugs of oil sufficed not only to anoint the sanctuary and its vessels and Aaron and his 2 sons throughout the 7 days of their consecration, but with this same oil were anointed all the successors of Aaron in the office of high priest and several kings until the day of Josiah. Several kings until the days of Josiah. And a special miracle occurred when Aaron was anointed, and on his pointed beard 2 drops of holy oil hung pendant like 2 pearls. These drops did not even disappear. These drops did not even disappear when he trimmed his beard, but rose to the roots of the hair. Moses at first feared that the useless waste of these drops of holy oil on Aaron's beard might be considered sacrilege, but a divine voice quieted him. A divine voice quieted Aaron, also, who likewise feared the accident that had turned the holy oil to his personal use. The anointing of Aaron and his 2 sons was not the only ceremony that consecrated them as priests. For during a whole week did they have to live near the tabernacle, secluded from the outer world. During this time, Moses performed all priestly duties, even bringing sacrifices for Aaron and his sons and sprinkling them with the blood of these sacrifices. It was on the 33rd day that Adar that Yahuwah bade Moses consecrate Aaron and his sons as priests, saying to him, "Go, persuade Aaron to accept his priestly office, for he is a man whom shuns distinctions, but effects his appointment before all Israel, that he may be honored in this way, and at the same time warn the people that after the choice of Aaron, none may assume priestly rights. Gather thou all the congregation together unto the door of the tabernacle." At these last words, Moses exclaimed, "O Lord of the world, how shall I be able to assemble before the door of the tabernacle, a space that measures only 2 seah, 60 myriads of adult men and as many youths?" But Yahuwah answered, "Dost thou marvel at this? Greater miracles than this I have accomplished. The heaven was originally as thin and as small as the retina of the eye. Still, I cause it to stretch all over the whole world, from one end to the other. In the future world, too, when all men from Adam to the time of the resurrection will be assembled in Zion, and the multitude will be so great that no one shall call to the other, 'The place is too strait for me. Give place to me that I may dwell.' On that day, I will so extend the holy city that all will conveniently find room there." Ooh, that's amazing. Shalom, Josiah. Moses did as he was bidden, and in the presence of all the people took place the election of Aaron and his sons as priests, whereupon these retired for a whole week at the door of the tabernacle. During this week, in preparing the burnt offering and sin offering, Moses showed his brother Aaron and Aaron's sons how to perform the different priestly functions in the sanctuary. Moses made a sin offering because he feared that among the gifts out of which the sanctuary had been constructed, there might have been ill-gotten gains, and Yahuwah loves justice and hates loot as an offering. So he's like, don't bring no hot stuff to my place. Is this stolen? Hold on, no, we cannot accept this. Oh, so if y'all in the habit of accepting hot loot, y'all better turn it away. Turn it away, because there's a special what is it? There's a special ordinance inside the law for thieves, right? And those who partake of the thief's booty, because you too then become a thief. Yes. Moses made a sin offering because he feared that among the gifts out of which the sanctuary had been constructed, there might have been ill-gotten gains, and Yahuwah loves justice and hates loot as an offering. Moses, through a sin offering, sought to obtain forgiveness for a possible wrong. During this week, however, the sanctuary was only temporarily used. Moses would set it up mornings and evenings and fold it together again, and it was not until this week had passed that the sanctuary was committed to the general. Hold on. And it was not until this week had passed that the sanctuary was committed to the general use. After that, it was not folded together except when they moved from on. Okay, that should be one. After that, it was not folded together except when they moved from one encampment to another. These 7 days of retirement were assigned to Aaron and his sons, not only as a preparation for their regular service, they had another significance also. Yahuwah, before bringing the flood upon the earth, observed the 7 days preceding as a week of mourning, and in the same way he bade Aaron and his sons live in absolute retirement for a week as the duty of mourners, for a heavy loss awaited them, the death of Nahab and Abihu, which took place on the joyous day of their dedication. All right, babe, love you too.
I'll call you later.
Okay. The day of the 10 crowns. The first day of Nisan was an eventful day, a day that was distinguished by 10 crowns. It was the day on which the princes of the tribes began to bring their offerings. It was the first day on which the Shekinah came to dwell among Israel, the first day on which sacrifice on, hold on, y'all. Y'all gotta excuse me because I see typos and I had to stop because it throws a sentence off of me and I had to read it over. What? Hold on. The first day on which sacrifice on any but the appointed place was forbidden. Hold on, y'all. That don't make no sense to me. Hold on. It was the day on which the princes of the tribes began to bring their offerings. It was the first day on which the Shekinah came to dwell among Israel, the first day on which sacrifice on any but the appointed place was forbidden. The first day on which priests bestowed their blessing upon Israel, the first day for a regular sacrificial service, the first day on which the priest partook of certain portions of the offering, the first day on which the heavenly fire was seen on the altar. It was besides the first day of the week, a Sunday, the first day of the month of the year. It was on this day, after the week of training for Aaron and his sons, that Yahuwah said to Moses, "Thinkest that thou art to be high priest because thou hast been attending to priestly duties during this week? Not so. Call Aaron and announce to him that he has been appointed high priest. And at the same time call the elders, and in their presence announce his elevation to this dignity, that none may say Aaron himself assumed this dignity, following the example of Yahuwah, who on Sinai distinguished Aaron before all others, saying, And thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee, but let not the priests and the people break through. Moses went first to Aaron, then to Aaron's sons, and then only to the elders, to discuss with them the preparations for the installation of Aaron into office. Oh, yeah, need a sip of water. Okay. When Moses approached Aaron with the news of Yahuwah's commission to appoint him as high priest, Aaron said, "What? Thou hast all the labor of erecting the tabernacle, and now I am to be its high priest?" But Moses replied, "As truly as thou livest, although thou art to be high priest, I am as happy as if I had been chosen myself. As thou did rejoice in my elevation, so do I now rejoice in thine." Moses continued, "My brother Aaron, although Yahuwah had become reconciled to Israel and has forgiven them their sins, still through thy offering must thou close the mouth of Satan, that he may not hate thee when thou enterest the sanctuary. Take then a young calf as a sin offering, for thou did as nearly lose thy claim to the dignity of high priest through a calf, so shalt thou now through the sacrifice of the calf be established in thy dignity." Then Moses turned to the people, saying, "You have two sins to atone for: the selling of Joseph, whose coat your father smeared with blood of a kid to convince their father that its owner had been torn to pieces by a wild beast, and the sin you committed through the worship of the golden calf. Take then a kid to atone for the guilt you brought upon yourselves with the kid, and take a calf to atone for the sin you committed through a calf. But to make sure that Yahuwah has been reconciled to you, offer up a bull also, and thereby acknowledge that you are slaughtering before Yahuwah your altar the bull that you had erstwhile worshipped." The people, however, said to Moses, "What avails this nation to do homage to its king who is invisible?" Okay, here y'all go again. Moses replied, "For this very reason did Yahuwah command you to offer these sacrifices, so that he may show himself to you." At these words, they rejoiced greatly, for through them they knew that Yahuwah was now completely reconciled to them, and they hastened to bring the offerings to the sanctuary. Moses admonished them with these words: "See to it now that you drive evil impulse from your hearts, that you have now but one thought and one resolution, to serve Yahuwah, and that your undivided services are devoted singly and solely to the one God. For he is the God of gods, and the Lord of lords. If you will act according to my words, the glory of Yahuwah shall appear unto you." But Aaron, in his humility, still did not dare to enter on his priestly activities. The aspect of the honored altar filled him with fear, for it reminded him of the worship of the bull by Israel, an incident in which he felt he had not been altogether without blame. Moses had to encourage him to step up on the altar and offer sacrifices. After Aaron had offered up the prescribed sacrifices, he bestowed his blessing upon the people with lifted hands, saying, "The Eternal bless thee and keep thee. The Eternal make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Eternal lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace." In spite of the offerings and the blessing, there was still no sign of the Shekinah, so that Aaron, with a heavy heart, thought, "Yahuwah is angry with me, and it is my fault that the Shekinah had not descended among Israel. I merely owe it to my brother Moses that to my confusion I entered the sanctuary, for my service did not suffice to bring down the Shekinah." Upon this, Moses went with his brother into the sanctuary a second time, and their united prayers had the desired effect. There came a fire out from before Yahuwah and consumed upon the altar nay, 116 years, and neither was the wood of the altar consumed, nor its brazen overlay molten. Hold on. Oh, okay. So it burned. Okay, let me read that again. Upon this went Moses with his brother into the sanctuary a second time, and their united prayers had the desired effect. there came a fire out from before Yahuwah and consumed upon the altar a will. Hold on. And consumed upon the altar well, nay, 116 years, and neither was the wood of the altar consumed, nor its brazen overlay molten. When the people saw the heavenly fire, the evident token of Yahuwah's grace and his reconciliation with them, they shouted and fell on their faces and praised Yahuwah, intoning in his honor a song of praise. Joy reigned not only on earth, but also in heaven. For on this day, Yahuwah's joy over the erection of the sanctuary was as great as had been his joy on the first day of creation over his works, heaven and earth. For in a certain sense, the erection of the tabernacle was the finishing touch to the creation of the world. For the world existed for the sake of three things: the Torah, divine service, and works of love. From the creation of the world to the revelation on Sinai, the world owed its existence to the love and grace of Yahuwah. From the revelation to the erection of the sanctuary, the world owed its existence to the Torah and to love, but only with the erection of the tabernacle did the world secure its firm basis, for now it had 3 feet whereupon to rest: the Torah, divine service, and love. From another point of view, too, is the day of consecration of the sanctuary to be reckoned with the days of creation. For at the creation of the world, Yahuwah dwelt with mortals and withdrew the Shekinah to heaven only on the account of the first 2 human beings. So we're trying to get back to how it was first in the beginning, when Adam and Eve and Yahuwah just freely, I mean, he can freely do it now, but he ain't gonna walk down here amongst all this sin and rigmarole going down here, right? He said, this is why you have to be set apart. He said, because if I come down and this holy fire come with me, ain't nothing gonna be left. It's gonna consume everything. So it's best that y'all follow these directions so we can go ahead and purify everything through and through, because I desire to be down there with you like I was at the beginning. He said, so if you do these things, the laws that I set for this holy fire won't touch you, right? It'll only purify you. When I come down there, we can walk freely, we can eat together, we can do all this stuff, and the nation's gonna feed, because they're gonna be like, what manner of people is this that the glory of the most holy can abide amongst them? Oh, it's a holy people. It's a holy people, right? Be holy, for I am holy, right? Listen. But on the first day of the consecration of the tabernacle, the Shekinah returned to its former abode, the earth. The angels therefore lamented on this day, saying, now Yahuwah will lead the celestial host and will dwell among mortals. Yahuwah indeed quieted them with the words, as truly as ye live, my true dwelling will remain on high. But he was not quite in earnest when he said so, for truly earth is his chief abode. Only after the tabernacle on earth had been erected did Yahuwah command the angels to build one like it in heaven. And it is this tabernacle in which Metatron offers the souls of the pious before Yahuwah as an expiation for Israel at the time of the exile, when his earthly sanctuary is destroyed. Who is Metatron, y'all? We all know who Metatron is, right? Don't let the name throw you off. We ain't talking about the Transformers Megatron. We're talking about Metatron. This is Enoch. Enoch, who was transformed into an angel when Yahuwah finally brought him up to stay this last time. He is also called the angel of the face. Metatron, Enoch, the angel of the face. That's him, right? Okay. This day marks an important change in the intercourse between Yahuwah and Moses. Before this, the voice of Yahuwah would strike Moses' ear as if conducted through a tube, and on such an occasion, the outer would recognize only through Moses' reddening face that he received the revelation. Now, at the consecration of the sanctuary, this was changed. For when on this day he entered the sanctuary, a sweet, pleasant, and lovely voice rang out to him, whereupon he said, I will hear what Yahuwah the Lord will speak. Then he heard the words, "Formerly there reigned enmity between me and my children. Formerly there reigned anger between me and my children. Formerly there reigned hatred between me and my children. But now love reigns between me and my children. Friendship reigns between me and my children. Peace reigns between me and my children." It was evident that peace reigned, for on this day the undisturbed freedom of movement over the world, which had until then been accorded to demons, was taken from them. Let me read that again. It was evident that peace reigned, for on this day the undisturbed freedom of movement over the world, which had until then been accorded to the demons, was taken from them. Until then, these were so frequently met with that Moses regularly recited a special prayer whenever going to Mount Sinai, entreating Yahuwah to protect him from the demons. But as soon as the tabernacle had been erected, they vanished. Not entirely, it is true, for even now these pernicious creatures may kill a person, especially within a period from the 17th day of Tammuz until the 9th day of Ab, when the demons exercise their power. The most dangerous among them is Kitab, the sight of whom kill men as well as animals. Hold on. The most dangerous one among them is Kitab, the sight of whom kills men as well as animals. He rose like a ball and had the head of a calf with a single horn on his forehead. I just thought about, I was like, I wonder what y'all seen Bird Box. Like when I be reading this stuff, I be thinking about the movies that they be doing. Because remember, whatever they saw drove them crazy and killed them like immediately, right? They died. Whoever saw whatever it was that they saw, they died, right? So I wonder if this, you get what I'm saying, right? So it makes me think, because that movie clearly exemplifies this particular demon. Like he was possibly present, or one close to him. You look at him, you die, right? It's crazy, right? If y'all ain't seen Bird Box, go watch Bird Box. It ain't. I think it's probably labeled. I don't know that it's labeled a scary movie, because it took me a while to watch it. Because remember, if y'all been here any stretch of time, y'all know I had this thing about scary movies growing up, which imparted a deep spirit of fear inside of me that I dealt with even in my early adult years, right? Where I couldn't even live in the house by myself. Where it was me and Elijah, but still, this was before me and my husband got married. It was a horrible thing. So that's why it took me so long to watch Bird Box, until I read, because it kept popping up, and there everybody was talking about it. It was all over the social media and everything. And so I decided, I went to YouTube and I watched different trailers of it, and I was reading comments and stuff. I'm like, okay. So my main thing was, I didn't want to actually see some kind of scary creature in the movie where I'm gonna be thinking about something and boom, this scary face gonna pop back up. I just didn't want to go through that, right? So that's why it took me so long to watch it. So it wasn't until I read a comment where somebody said, they said people looking at something that they never show inside the whole movie, but whenever you look at it, you die. So I'm like, okay. But it's crazy, because even in that, I can see a lot of spiritual principles happening behind the scenes, whether the people know it or not. I'm not really sure, but it's like when I understand a certain principle or something that's working behind the scenes, I can see it wherever it's present, right? And so that's what made me think about the movie Bird Box with this right here, right? Listen. Okay. Hold on, let me just go back up here. I'll just read right here. Listen. It was evident that peace reigned, for on this day the undisturbed freedom of movement over the world, which had until then been accorded to demons, was taken from them. Until then, these were so frequently met with that Moses regularly recited a special prayer whenever going to Mount Sinai, entreating Yahuwah to protect him from the demons. So they was freely moving about. Remember, we also learned about it in the book of Enoch, chapter 15, where it talks about the demon. It describes the demon spirits, and it said they are here on the earth, and they torture and they irritate and they aggravate men. So if anybody's ever had like this spiritual encounter where you clearly know there's something otherworldly here with us, and you've had a personal experience, a lot of people can't really explain it. They just label it demons, but the book of Enoch describes in detail what these entities are, and they do in fact mess with you when you're down here, right? But this was so much so at this time that even before Moses, every time he went to Mount Sinai, he had always prayed this prayer so the demons wouldn't mess with him, right? So, but this is what he's talking about. Listen, until then, these were so frequently met with that Moses regularly recited a special prayer whenever going to Mount Sinai, entreating Yahuwah to protect him from these demons. But as soon as the tabernacle had been erected, they vanished. Not entirely. It is true, for even now, these pernicious creatures may kill a person, especially within the period from the 17th day of Tammuz until the 9th day of Ab, when the demons exercise their power. And I'm not really exactly sure the real time span of this date, but I want to say it probably falls in the time where Halloween falls. That's what I want to say without looking it up. But my first thought, probably about this time, right? Because we know, well, if you haven't done any studying, this is one of the high satanic they call it like a high satanic holy day, but I don't even know why they included the word holy, right? It's just a day that's real high and ripe for like demonic activities. It's a lot of sacrificing of animals and people that happening on these days, people being kidnapped in massive fashions up until this day to do their sacrifice. It's crazy, y'all. I'm just like, oh my gosh, people doing this for real. Okay. Especially within the period from the 17th day of Tammuz to the 9th day of Ab, when the demons exercise their power. The most dangerous one among them is Keteb, the sight of whom killed men as well as animals. He rose like a ball and had the head of a calf with a single horn on his forehead. Just as Yahuwah destroyed the power of these demons through the tabernacle, so too, through the priestly blessing that he bestowed upon his people before the consecration of the sanctuary, did he break the spell of the evil eye, which might otherwise have harmed them now, as it had done at the revelation of Sinai. The great ceremonies on that occasion had turned the eyes of all the world upon Israel, and the evil eye of the nations brought about the circumstance of breaking the two tables. As Yahuwah blessed his people on this occasion, so too did Moses, who upon the completion of the tabernacle blessed Israel with these words: "The eternal God of your fathers make you 1,000 times so, as many more as ye are, and bless you as he has promised you." The people made answer to this blessing, saying, "Let the beauty of Yahuwah our God be upon us, and establish thy work of our hands upon us, yea, even the work of our hands, establish thou it." Where we at? Okay, we can go ahead and read this next section. Okay, yeah, this will take us to the end of our reading for today. The last section we're going to read today is the Interrupted Joy, page 299. All right. And hey, girl, hey. All right. The happiest of women on this day was Elisheba, the daughter of Aminadab, for besides the general rejoicing at the dedication of the sanctuary, 5 particular joys fell to her lot. Her husband Aaron was the high priest, her brother-in-law Moses king, her son Eleazar head of the priests, her grandson Phinehas priest of war, and her brother Nashon prince of his tribe. But how soon was her joy turned to grief? Her 2 sons Nadab and Abihu, carried away by the universal rejoicing at the heavenly fire, approached the sanctuary with the censers in their hands to increase Yahuwah's love for Israel through this act of sacrifice, but paid with their lives for this offering. From the Holy of Holies issued 2 flames of fire, as thin as threads, then parted into 4, and 2 each pierced the nostrils of Nadab and Abihu, whose souls were burnt, although no external injury was visible. Oh, snap. That'll learn you. I just had like a whole, and I know for somebody to say it, I know that is improper English. That'll learn you. I know that. I said it on purpose. I said it on purpose. Let me read that again. But how soon her joy turned to grief, her two sons, Nadab and Abihu, carried away by the universal rejoicing at the heavenly fire, approached the sanctuary with the censers in their hands to increase Yahuwah's love for Israel through this act of sacrifice, but paid for it with their lives for this offering. From the Holy of Holies issued two flames of fire, as thin as threads, then parted into four, and two each pierced the nostrils of Nadab and Abihu, whose souls were burnt, although no external injury was visible. They were approaching to do something that they thought in their own mind was good, but it cost them their life. Same thing with who was it? Who was it when the ark was falling? He reached out to catch it. Was it Uzzah? I think it was Uzzah. I think Uzzah. They were traveling. They were moving from camp to camp, and the priests were carrying the ark and everything. He probably should not have even been that close to it, right? Because he was not allowed to touch it. But when they were walking, it was about to fall off the cart, and he thought he was doing a good thing. Went out to catch it before it hit the ground, and he died. Right, he died because he was not dedicated to the service of taking care of the ark. One of the priests should have done that. One of the priests anointed to the ark, anointed in the service to care for the ark, to do whatever that needs to happen with the ark. One of them should have did it. He should have let it hit the ground. If won't nobody there, and he paid for it with his life. It's the same thing. So you got to be careful sometimes. Sometimes we do things that we in our own mind think is right, that think is going to be pleasing. Oh, Father, we didn't want to let the ark fall to the ground. But listen, do you remember the instructions back in the beginning? I don't care if the ark was falling to the ground, you should let it fall, right? There are instructions that if you have not been consecrated, if you are not ceremonially clean, if you are not appointed to this thing alone, he said only these people may touch it. I don't care what's going on. Only these people can touch it. Then only these people can touch it, right? You got to read the fine print. Read the fine print. Otherwise, you pay for it with your life, Mr. Postman. The death of these priests was not, however, unmerited, for in spite of their piety, they had committed many a sin. Even at Sinai, they had not conducted themselves properly, for instead of following the example of Moses, who had turned his face away from the divine vision in the burning bush, they based in the divine vision of Mount Sinai. Their fate had even been decreed, but Yahuwah did not want to darken the joy of the Torah by their death. Hence, he waited for the dedication of the tabernacle. On this occasion, Yahuwah acted like the king who, discovering on the day of his daughter's wedding that the best man was guilty of a deadly sin, said, "If I cause the best man to be executed on the spot, I shall cast a shadow on my daughter's joy. I would rather have him executed on my day of gladness than on hers." Yahuwah inflicted the penalty upon Nadab and Abihu in the day of gladness of his heart, and not on the day on which the Torah espoused Israel. Oh, that's so sweet. Among the sin, he said, so I'm gonna get you. And it's like you be in the store. Well, it's probably not a good analogy or whatever. Well, he said, I'm gonna get you, but I'm gonna wait to get you. I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna let them have their moment right here. I don't want to destroy this, but I'm gonna get you, right? We're gonna let her have her day. We're gonna let Israel's getting the Torah. I don't want any dark thing remembered about this particular day. I much rather do it on a day. I don't want to do it on their birthday. I'm gonna do it on my birthday. That way, the darkness happens on my day, right? And I'm gonna remember it. But I don't want any kind of bad memories on their special day. So we're gonna hold off punishment for the time being. And we're going to let them celebrate their day and have their day. Only thing about this day is going to be good memories. That's the only thing this was a good day for many generations. So I'm going to get you, but I'm going to get you on a day more appropriate. That's not going to affect them in a bad way, right? Y'all get that? Listen, let's go back up. The death of these priests was not, however, unmerited, for in spite of their piety, they had committed many a sin. Even at Sinai, they had not conducted themselves properly, for instead of following the example of Moses, who had turned his face away from the divine vision in the burning bush, they based in the divine vision on Mount Sinai. Their fate had even been decreed, but Yahuwah did not want to darken the day of the Torah by their death. Hence, he waited for the dedication of the tabernacle. On this occasion, Yahuwah acted like the king who, discovering on the day of his daughter's wedding that the best man was guilty of a deadly sin, said, "If I cause the best man to be executed on the spot, I shall cast a shadow on my daughter's joy. I will rather have him executed on my day of gladness than on hers." Yahuwah inflicted the penalty upon Nadab and Abihu in the day of gladness of his heart, and not on the day on which the Torah espoused Israel. Among the sins for which they had to atone for was their great pride, which was expressed in several ways. They did not marry because they considered no woman good enough for them, saying, "Our father's brother is king, our father is high priest, our mother's brothers is prince of this tribe, and we are heads of the priests. What woman is worthy of us?" And many a woman remained unwed, waiting for these youths to woo her. In their pride, they even went so far in sinning thoughts as to wish for the time when Moses and Aaron should die, that they would have the guidance of the people in their hands. But Yahuwah said, "Boast not thyself of tomorrow. Many a colt has died, and his hide had been used as a cover for his mother's back." Ooh, hold on. Listen. "Boast not thyself of tomorrow. Many a colt has died, and his hide has been used as a cover for his mother's back." Hey, ooh, now that'll preach. I'm gonna just keep going. "Even in the performance of the act that brought death upon them, did they show their pride, for they asked permission of neither Moses nor Aaron whether they might partake in the sacrificial service. What is more, Nadab and Abihu did not even consult with each other before starting out on his fatal deed. Before starting out on this fatal deed, they performed it independently of each other. Had they previously taken counsel together, or had they asked their father, their uncle, very likely would have never offered the disastrous sacrifice, for they were neither in a proper condition for making an offering, nor was their offspring appropriate. They partook of wine before entering the sanctuary. Ooh, right there, yep. They partook of wine before entering the sanctuary, which is forbidden to priests. They did not wear the prescribed priestly robes, and furthermore, they had not sanctified themselves with water out of the laver for washing. They made their offering, moreover, in the Holy of Holies, to which admittance had been prohibited, and used strange fire. And the offering was all in all out of place, because they had no command from Yahuwah to offer up incense at that time. Apart from this list of sins, however, they were very pious men, and their death grieved Yahuwah more than their father Aaron, not alone because it grieves Yahuwah to see a pious father lose his sons, but because they actually were worthy and pious youths. When Aaron heard of the death of his sons, he said, "All Israel saw thee at the Red Sea, as well as Sinai, without suffering injury therefore, but my sons, whom thou did order to dwell in the tabernacle, a place that a layman may not enter without being punished by death. My sons entered the tabernacle to behold thy strength and thy might, and they died." Yahuwah hereupon said to Moses, "Tell Aaron the following: I have shown thee great favor, and have granted thee great honor through this, that thy sons have been burnt. I assigned to thee and thy sons a place nearer to the sanctuary before all others, even before thy brother Moses. But I also have decreed that whoever enters the tabernacle without having been commanded, he shall be stricken with leprosy. Wouldst thou have wished thy sons, to whom the innermost places had been assigned, to sit as lepers outside the encampment as a penalty for having entered the Holy of Holies? When Moses imparted these words to his brother, Aaron said, I thank thee, O Yahuwah, for that which thou hast shown me in causing my sons to die rather than having them waste their lives as lepers. Now that'll preach, right? That'll preach. Even, oh, wow. Yahuwah said, go tell Aaron this. He said, listen. He said, and I'm going to just sum it up. He said, it's much better that they died this way, right? He said, because the punishment for them doing what they did is that they would be stricken with leprosy for the rest of their days. Now, would you have wanted to watch your sons waste away and be held outside the camp, can't come near? Would you rather have seen them that way, waste away and totally deform and be unclean for the rest of their days? Would you have rather wanted that? Would you rather have wanted to see that happen than to have them go this way? Like I just took their souls from their bodies, right? I literally just took them, and there was no injury caused to their physical form. Which way would you rather? I'd have been like, okay, you was gracious even in the way that you took them, right? Because who would want to see their child wasting away, right? I mean, they don't want them to go either way. Definitely don't want them to go before they do, right? Children should never pass before their parents. That should never happen, right? But when Yahuwah does allow it to happen, just know and understand that He sees the bigger picture, and we can kind of really just only see what's in front of our face. And a lot of times we don't really have the understanding of why that happened. But no, if He allowed it to happen that way, that was probably the best course of action. To whereas if it didn't happen when it did, something much worse we would not have been able to bear, right? And losing, and I've never had experience, so I can't say. I can, based on what I've heard people say, right? Losing a child is always hard, right? Like I said, children should never go before their parents, so, but Yahuwah said to him, he said, would you have rather seen them go like this instead? And Aaron had to sit and think about it. He was like, that would have been more devastating. So even in you taking them here today, the way you did was most gracious to me, right? All right, I'm gonna read that again. Hold on. I'll just go back up here and read the whole thing about Aaron, because we almost done. We got like this little paragraph left. When Aaron heard of the death of his sons, he said, all Israel saw thee at the Red Sea as well as at Sinai without suffering injury thereafter. But my sons, whom thou did order to dwell in the tabernacle, a place that a layman may not enter without being punished by death, my sons entered the tabernacle to behold thy strength and thy might, and they died. Yahuwah hereupon said to Moses, tell Aaron the following. I have shown thee great favor and have granted thee great honor through this, that thy sons have been burnt. I assigned thee and thy sons to a place nearer to the sanctuary before all others, even before thy brother Moses. But I have also decreed that whoever enters the tabernacle without having been commanded, he shall be stricken with leprosy. Would thou have wished thy sons, to whom the innermost places had been assigned, to sit as lepers outside the encampment as a penalty for having entered the Holy of Holies? When Moses imparted these words to his brother Aaron, said, I thank thee, O Yah, for that which thou hast shown me in causing my sons to die, rather than having them waste their lives as lepers. It behooves me to thank thee and praise thee, because thy loving kindness is better than life. My lips shall praise thee. And it makes us look at things in just a little bit differently, doesn't it? Said in all things, Yahuwah is gracious. All things, even though they seem like the worst of things to us, even in this, Yahuwah is being gracious to us, even if we don't understand it quite at the moment, right? Yeah, shh. Yeah, shh, everybody. Okay. It behooves me to thank thee and praise thee, because thy loving kindness is better than life. My lips shall praise thee. Moses endeavored to comfort his brother in still another way, saying, "Thy sons died to glorify the name of Yahuwah. Blessed be his name. For on Sinai, Yahuwah said to me, and there will I meet with the children of Israel. The tabernacle shall be sanctified by those that glorify me. I knew that this sanctuary of Yahuwah was to be sanctified by the death of those that stood near it. But I thought neither thou or I was destined for this. But now I perceive that thy sons were nearer to God than we." These last words sufficed to induce Aaron to control his grief over the loss of his sons, and like the true wise man, he silently bore the heavy blow of fate without murmur or lament. Yahuwah rewarded him for his silence by addressing him directly and imparting an important priestly law to him. Aaron could not take part in the burial of Nadab and Abihu, for a high priest is not permitted to take part in a funeral procession, even if the deceased be a near kinsman. Eleazar and Ithamar also, the surviving sons of Aaron, were not permitted to mourn or attend the funeral on the day of their dedication as priests. So the Aaron's cousins, the Levites, Mishael and Elzaphan, the next of kin after these, had to attend the funeral. These two Levites were the sons of a very worthy father, who was not only by descent a near kinsman of Aaron, but who was also closely akin to Aaron in character. As Aaron pursued peace, so too did his uncle Uzziel, the father to Mishael and Elzaphan. Being Levites, they might not, being Levites, they might not enter the place where the heavenly fire had met their cousins. Hence, an angel had thrust Nadab and Abihu out of the priestly room, and they did not die until they were outside, so that Mishael and Elzaphan might approach them. Oh, snap, my G. Hold on. Oh, that's right. They couldn't go in there and get them. An angel tossed them out. Okay, listen, hold on. Listen. As Aaron pursued peace, so too did his uncle Uzziel, father to Mishael and Elzaphan. Being Levites, they might not enter the place where the heavenly fire had met their cousins. Hence, an angel had thrust Nadab and Abihu out of the priestly room, so that they did not die until they were outside it, so that Mishael and Elzaphan might approach them. Whereas the whole house of Israel was bidden to bewail the death of Nadab and Abihu, for the death of a pious man is greater misfortune to Israel than the temples burning to ashes. Wow, that says a lot. Aaron and his sons, on the other hand, were permitted to take no share in the mourning, and Moses bade them eat of the parts of the offering due them as if nothing had happened. Now, when Moses saw that Aaron had burnt to ashes one of the 3 sin offerings that were offered on that day, without himself or his sons having partaken of it, his wrath kindled against his brother. But in consideration of Aaron's age and his office, Moses addressed his violent words not to Aaron himself, but to his sons. He reproached them without having offended against Yahuwah's commandment in burning one sin offering and eating of the other. He asked them, besides, if they were not wise enough to profit by the example of their deceased brothers, who paid for their arbitrary actions with their lives, particularly since they had been doomed to death, and owed their life only to his prayer, which had power to preserve for their father half number of sons. Moses' reproof, however, was unjustified, for Aaron and his sons had done what the statutes required, but Moses on this occasion, as on 2 others, owing to his wrath, forgotten the law toward Israel. Hence, Aaron opposed him and decided. Hence, Aaron opposed him decidedly and pointed out his error to him. Moses, far from taking Aaron's reprimand amiss, caused a herald to be made. Caused a herald to make an announcement throughout the camp. I have falsely interpreted the law, and Aaron, my brother, has corrected me. Eleazar and Ithamar also knew the law, but were silent out of consideration for me. As a reward for their considerateness, Yahuwah thereupon revealed important laws to Moses with a special injunction to tell them to Aaron as well as to Ithamar. Oh, and that's where that ends today. So we'll pick the rest of that up, and we'll find out what that was, because this next section is, oh, that might be the only section we read. Oh, this is definitely gonna be the only section we read tomorrow. Oh, so we're gonna have to be fast. Okay, the gifts of the prince. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, so this section is definitely gonna have to wait till tomorrow. So that was our reading for today, beautiful people. We started at page 297 all the way to page 301 in the Legends of the Jews, and we read Numbers 25, 26, and 27. It is February the 10th, Wednesday, February the 10th, 2021, day 74 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 743, and that is without the Sabbath days and the feast days, Sabbath days added in. Why? Because we rest on those days as Yahuwah has commanded us to. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and we're going to read the blessing. We learned a little bit more about the blessing today, right? If y'all was paying attention. Okay. And so we know that the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And we also know that the first 21 verses is what? That's right. The Nazarite vow. And who can take it? That's right. A man or a woman. I know I was a little bit too fast in y'all fingers now, but I know y'all knew the answer. Anyway, and Moses and Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his son, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. So that is it for today. I'm going to run through. I always check. No questions over here on YouTube. None over here. Appreciate everybody coming to hang out with me while I stand my post in the morning. I will see everybody Friday. We rest tomorrow, y'all. Look, and this is the last Sabbath of this month. So we ain't gonna do like we did last month. We ain't gonna call the new moon ahead of time. Although I have it calculated, it showing up on Friday, right? But we're not gonna do that. We just gonna be faithful to the command and watch, because last month a lot of people was fooled. We called it. And I think the most hosts, that's why he said this, and every month y'all should be practicing this, because what happens is when we use technology, we tend to kind of, I ain't gonna say grow lazy, but we tend to take for granted that this could possibly change. We are flawed and Yahuwah is not, right? So if we want to make sure we can keep counting the days appropriately, we need to watch for the new moon or the new month. So we know that Yahuwah's time clock kind of straddles the Gregorian calendar, the calendar that we live on, right? Because they changed the times and the seasons. So it looks like it's almost at the middle of a month on our calendars, when in fact it is a new month beginning, right? But it's two different time systems that are being recorded with the clock in the sky, and the calendar, right? So we're not gonna call it early. Like, we're not gonna look at the app. We're just gonna look at the sky and we're gonna watch for it, right? So remember, when we spot it on the first day we spot it, there'll only be about an hour span where we will actually be able to spot her. So every night, if we know it's coming up, we should be out watching, because we know towards the sun setting, that's when we'll be able to spot the new moon, right? It's like an hour, about let's say 30 minutes to an hour. I would say 30 minutes to an hour. So don't be like, okay, I'm gonna just go out 30 minutes after the sun sets. No, because it's possible you could miss it. I would say be watching, just to be on the safe side, depending on where you live at, probably about 2 hours before the sunset or whatever. Just kind of be mindful and watching so you don't miss it. What? Okay. You scratch your back. All right, you good? Okay. Well, scratch it, Pooh. Jeez. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we can go take a bath. Okay. All right. Okay, y'all. So just be mindful. New moon, new month is coming up, and so whatever day that the new moon falls on, we also know that this Sabbath also shifts. So this Tomorrow, Thursday, will be the last Sabbath of this moon cycle of this month, which is the, what is this, the 11th month? I'm sorry. We're in the 11th month. We're about to go into the 12th month, y'all. Yeah. So this next month will be the last month of Yahuwah's year. Okay, I wrote it back there. Yeah, so be watching, be mindful, y'all. And you know me, I'm gonna be posting. I keep y'all updated just in case, y'all don't quite understand. Like, why am I looking in the sky? What I'm looking for now? Wait, what? Hold on. Which way is west? Wherever you see the sun, I know y'all know this, but I'm just saying, just in case somebody, okay, wherever you, from your house or wherever you live, wherever you see the sun rising in the morning, that's the east. Wherever you see the sun going down is the west, right? Okay, so when we're looking for the new moon, we're going to be looking in the western part of the sky where the sun sets, about the time the sun sets, and we'll be looking because you'll be able to see the little sliver of the moon. And if the sky is really clear, you can actually see the entire disk of the moon, but you would just see that little sliver lit up from it, right? Okay, so it's quite fun when you actually start doing it and you start tracking and stuff. But all right, y'all, that's it. I'm done running my mouth for today. Let's go ahead and get out of here. We got work to do today, and the tribe is up and they rolling. All right, I love y'all, and I will see y'all Friday morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love y'all. Peace.
I give up.
You give up?
Yep.